Well, we are here. Week 11 power rankings already. Alright, let's get into this. The Buccaneers are number 10. From 1 to 10. They were the top team going into this week. Going into last week, they're the 3rd and 10th now. Yeah. The Buccaneers. That was a good win. That was a good loss for the Buccaneers. Close game, and that was surprising. I thought personally Tampa was going to win that game. They didn't. New England really surprised me. But Tampa Bay was in that game the entire time, and it just ultimately went to New England. And we'll talk about New England later on in this video, but Tampa Bay, they're number 10. They dropped from 1 to 10. They just haven't looked the best, in my opinion. That's why I dropped them as far as I did. It's just, I don't know. It's every year the Buccaneers look pretty good, like they could go to the Super Bowl, but for some reason it's games like this that prove otherwise. So, I personally do not know what Tampa's going to do. Maybe this will be the year they surprise everyone and they make the Super Bowl, but they got a tough game against the Bills, who also came off a loss, so yeah, that's going to be interesting. But if Carolina beat the Saints, they are only a half game behind. They would only be a half game behind the Buccaneers right now. They didn't, fortunately for them. But that's something that they're definitely going to have to look out for, because the Panthers have an easier game this week too. So, yeah, they're number 10. And, yeah, moving on. Number 9, the Broncos. They won, but they won. But they did not play their offense. That game was awful, but I can't really say that as an Eagles fan because the game last night was also awful, which is why I would say the same thing when we get to the Eagles later. I have the Broncos at 9 because it happened to a bad team. For Philadelphia, this will be quick. Philadelphia happened to the Packers. Packers are still a decent team, despite LaFleur's play calling. But the Broncos, it was the Raiders, 7-10 to the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders it's always usually a tough game for Denver, but they shouldn't have. It should, if it was going to be a close game, it should be like 21-24 or like 31-28. Like if it was going to be a 3-point game, let's do it that. Not let's hold the Broncos offense to only 10 points. I mean, Houston held them to 18, but but Houston's defense. So what does this prove? The Raiders' defense is better than Houston? I don't think so. The offense just couldn't get it going, and ultimately, that's why. So, the Broncos fall from 3 to 9, and we'll see what happens. But not good. They really got to get going because they can't have a performance like that against the Chiefs. They can't. Alright, the Chiefs are kind of in this weird bubble of they might be good, they might not be. They can't do that against Kansas City. They will lose. But anyway, that's for tomorrow's video. Number 8, I got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, that was a bad game. Miami completely obliterated the Bills. There was no point in that game where it was close. The Dolphins had complete control of that game. The Bills almost came back, but even then, it was not close. The game was never close. That Josh Allen fumble, I think, was the nail in the coffin for Buffalo. Even though it was only the 3rd quarter, I think it was, just because it looked like things were maybe going in the right direction for Buffalo, and then that was just the thing that ended it. Ended all momentum Buffalo had. The Dolphins, thus far, since Tua's pink eye, have played well, aside from the Ravens, but they have played well in the other games. Good game for Miami. The Bills. This I don't think is going to affect them. They got the Buccaneers, and spoiler alert, I got the Bills winning. Why? I just think they are the better team than Tampa. I mean, this Bills team beat the Chiefs. I mean, literally, from the highs of beating Mahomes and the Chiefs to the lows of losing to the Dolphins. I mean, it's crazy how this season has gone for a lot of teams. Buffalo is just the latest victim. Up and down, we don't really know who's good, and at this point, all I can do is guess who's good, and that's really what this is. The Bills are 8. They dropped 6 spots as well. They dropped from 2 to 8. I don't know what's going on with really this entire season. Everyone is this way almost, except for a few teams, which we'll get to those. But I mean, this is just not a good win for. This is not a good win. This is not a good game for Buffalo. Buffalo never had it in this game. Number 7, I got the Colts. They won, but they drop. Why do they drop? Well, there's teams ahead of them, behind them, that played a lot better than they did. Jonathan Taylor, MVP season. He is basically the Saquon Barkley of the Colts. He is. Last season it was Saquon Barkley. This season it's Jonathan Taylor. Will Jonathan Taylor have a slow start to next season? Who knows? But that is how it's gone for the Colts. The Colts, one of the main reasons why they are 8-2 right now is Jonathan Taylor. Really, really good running back. Very underestimated up until this point. Now teams aren't underestimating him anymore. Single-handedly won that game. That game should not have been close. It was because is the Giants' Daniel Jones coming back? I mean, it looks like it a little bit. But Jonathan Taylor carried that game. The Falcons are not nearly as good as the Steelers' defense, as the Steelers at least were, kind of. But the Falcons almost won that game. The only reason why they didn't is because of Jonathan Taylor. Good job. The Colts had a good win, but they did not play well enough to have me keep them in the top 5 just because that should have been a blowout, and it wasn't. It went to overtime. So, I mean, yeah. This Colts team, I don't know. I used to think they were the Super Bowl favorites until last week. So, we'll see what happens. Colts dropped from 4 to 7. We'll see if they drop any more. They won, but Colts need to be playing. Really, there needs to be more unity on the Colts offense for me to say they need to play better. Really, Daniel Jones needs to be playing like he was at the beginning of the season for me to put the Colts back in the top 5. Until then, they're at number 7. Number 6, the Chargers, they move up. They move up big time. Good win. I personally did not think the Chargers would win that game. I didn't. It was just crazy to see this Chargers team go from 3-0, sweeping the division, to then almost losing 3 straight, and then kind of winning. Like, this Chargers team is so up and down, I don't know. And the Steelers were a little bit more have been a little bit more consistent this year. So I picked the Steelers. I was wrong again. I picked them on Sunday Night Football again. I was wrong again. I should have seen that coming personally, but I didn't. Chargers, good win. That was a great win. The Chargers, they're looking like they're coming back, and that's not good if you're the Chiefs and the Broncos, really, because of how the Broncos played on Thursday. But honestly, if you're the Broncos and the Chiefs, you should be sweating with how the Chargers are slowly beginning to come back. So, will the Chargers win the division this year? I don't think so, but we'll see what happens. Chargers are 6-3. No, but they're 7-3. I think they're. I don't remember, but yeah, they're 7-3. So, good win. You beat the Steelers. The Steelers, they might not have a winning season this year. I think personally, if the Steelers don't have a winning season, that's the one thing Mike Tomlin has. He may retire. He may. If the Steelers just go down the drain and just start losing all these games. Because they do not have an easy stretch. They don't. They got a layup game this week. But if they lose that, that means they got swept by the Bengals this season. That is not good. That is a low, low, low point for the Steelers. So, Steelers should win that game, but who knows at this point. Chargers, good win. And we'll see if you can move into the top 5. At number 5, though, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't even know what to say about that game. Defense, Super Bowl form. This is the defense we need if we're going to the Super Bowl. And we did it not to a bad team, to a Packers team. Granted, without Tucker Kraft, but still a supposedly Super Bowl contender Packers team. They're not Super Bowl contenders anymore. Tucker Kraft is gone for the year. It showed that that offense desperately needs him. The Eagles. Defense, amazing. Offense, fire Patul. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. We have to fire him. This is unacceptable. We are the defending Super Bowl champions, and I know we won, but it doesn't feel like a win. That game was awful. It was awful. I hated everything about it, aside from the defense being insane. That was awesome, but the offense, every time, it was just awful to see, especially because half the time it wasn't even Green Bay's fault that the offense wasn't performing. It was our fault. It's just, what do we do? Especially at the end of the game. This is going to be a little bit of a rant. Sirianni, what are you doing? It's 4th and 6. Okay, 4th and 6. And you have the ball. You're in field goal range. And Jake Elliott is a pretty good kicker, I would say. He's a solid kicker. You're going to go for it on 4th and 6? I know there was 27 seconds left. But the Packers were going to have the ball if it didn't work. The Packers would have had the ball at like the 35, which is I think where they had the ball. Not good. This isn't good. It didn't work. They got the ball at the 35. The only reason why we won that game, or the game didn't go to overtime, is because of the bad play calling of Matt LaFleur. That's the only reason why we won that game. Because even if, like, okay, you have to say, alright, well, Matt LaFleur, let's go to the 4th and 1 with Matt LaFleur. 4th and 1, like, we know exactly what they're doing. We get on the ball. That should have been game over. It should have been. Because if we kicked the field goal, there would have been, like, what, maybe 15 seconds left. And they would have had the ball probably at their own 20 or 15. That means they have, like, maybe 2 plays. If they get lucky. 2 plays to get a touchdown. Not a field goal, a touchdown. The only way that happens is if we do the one thing that we haven't done all game, is allow a big play. We didn't allow a big play. We could have. I mean, the biggest play we had was that pass interference on, I think it was Dobbs. It was one of the Packers. I think it was their tight end, their backup tight end. That was like the biggest play we let up, and that was the play. That was the drive. A few plays later, they got in the end zone. For their only touchdown, and only the second touchdown in the game. We didn't. If that play didn't happen, it's not a 10-0 game. It's not a 10-7 game. It's probably a 10-3 game. And they're forced to go for a touchdown anyway. Now this is now off. That was now off topic, but that was the biggest play we let up all night. The Packers let up they let up two big plays. They let up Saquon Barkley to run. Finally, he broke free and got like a 30-yard run or 40-yard run. I don't remember how long it was. And then the next play later, we get a long bomb to Devontae Smith. That's our only touchdown, and it's 10-0. I'm thinking, by this point, yeah, we've won. But, anyway, I'm thinking we've won that game. It's 10-0. There's like maybe worst case scenario, they get a touchdown or a field goal. There's no way they're going 2 scores in 10 minutes the way our defense has played, and they didn't. But at this, we've already talked about this. I've gotten off track big time. 4th and 6. We're just gonna throw it. We're gonna what? What is that? What are we doing? The only reason why we won is because of Matt LaFleur. That's the only real reason. Because if he did not call that 4th and 1, now they didn't get stopped. Now they did not get snapped. So if it was stopped, we would have gotten it anyway. But they got a penalty anyway on that play, even if they didn't run that play. They still got the penalty, so instead of a 4th and 1, it would be a 4th and 6. They would have had to gone for it because go for it. That'd be the only way. But anyway, that's all aside. Eagles, bad. Okay, let's look at the positives. One of the few positives, the Eagles' defense. Who specifically? The new acquisition. This is gonna take me a while to pronounce. Not accusation. Acquisition. Jalen Phillips. He played insane. He was one of the real reasons why we won that game. And I'm thinking, yeah, let's go. Fine. We got another player that actually works. Like how we've done it again. He has. So is that going to be was he one of our big saving graces? Yes, absolutely. From Jordan Love fumbling the ball and him falling on the fumble to the defense just had Green Bay this whole game. It was awesome to watch us on defense. It was painful to watch us on offense this game. It's just completely tale of two games. It was tale of two sides, really. Two positions. So, yeah, I mean, we move up 4 because we beat the Packers, and the Packers are supposed to be Super Bowl threats. I mean, at this point, they're not. They're really not, but I move them up 4 because our defense. It's mainly because of our defense. Our defense is Super Bowl form. Our offense, we need to work on it. I don't care what we need to do. Fire Patullo, fire Nick Sirianni. I don't care who's calling the shots. The offense needs to be fixed. Whatever you got to do to fix the offense, I don't care. That's all. Whatever you need to do. The number 4, I got the Rams. The Rams, great game against the 49ers. No, not great game. Great win for the Rams. The game was a blowout, as is all of the late games. Lions, Commanders, Rams, 49ers, and Seahawks, Cardinals. They were all blowouts. Rams. Yeah, good win. Good win. For the Rams. I have them moving up one spot because the teams I have in front of them have looked better. So, and are more of a threat. So, Rams, as you know if you watched the video yesterday, my score predictions, the Rams are playing the Seahawks. I think they're going to lose. So, are the Rams Super Bowl threats? I would say yes, especially if they win next week. This next week, if they win, yes, they are legitimate threats. But the Rams have played not the best of competition, not the worst either. I mean, the 49ers, they split the series. They lose week 5, and then they win this week. So they've split the series with the 49ers. I mean, they beat the Texans, but the Texans weren't the best starting week 1. Week 2, they beat the Titans. They're 1-9. Wait, 1-8, because, yeah, 1-8. Week 3, they lose to the Eagles. Oh, for crazy missed field goal, blocked field goal. Week 4, they beat the... Who did they beat? They beat the Colts. That's who they beat. On a weird one that they really should have lost, in my opinion. Then they lose to... Then on prime time, they lose to the 49ers. But since then, they have played much better. And there's talk about Matt Stafford as a potential MVP candidate. I would say no. Not right now. I would say someone like Puka Nacua is an MVP candidate. Someone like Jonathan Taylor is an MVP candidate. Someone like Derrick Henry is an MVP candidate. I'm against the fact that the MVP award has become an only quarterback award. As much as it makes sense, it doesn't make sense. Because when you have players that are not a quarterback, that are the reason teams are winning, like, say, Jonathan Taylor, I would say Puka Nacua is the same way for the Rams. I mean, he has been phenomenal. Matthew Stafford's been playing well, and he is definitely, like, what, maybe Offensive Player of the Year, maybe? But even then, I don't think so. I mean, that would probably go to someone like Jonathan Taylor or something, because that's usually where those awards go to. But I don't think he is yet. I think if the Rams beat the Seahawks this week, then yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say he is. But I don't think he is. And I don't think they're going to win. That's just my opinion. Sam Darnold, MVP? Maybe. Maybe. JSN? I mean, JSN's definitely showing that. For the Seahawks. But we'll get to Seattle later. Number 3, you got the Lions. They move up 5 spots. Why? Well, they blew out the Commanders. Yes. Were the Commanders weak? Yes. Did they not have Jaden Daniels? Yes. But the Lions dominated. And was this a cause because Dan Campbell took over play calling? Maybe. And right now, they look the best they really have. Especially, they've looked the best they've ever been this season. especially after that loss to Minnesota. This game was definitely a get-right game for the Lions after that loss, and they did it. They dominated. They dominated on the road in Washington, in front of Trump and everybody. They dominated. So, they're number 3. Are they legitimate Super Bowl threats? Yes, I would say they are now. And they're definitely, with the Packers going down, and the Bears maybe being a better team, and the Vikings maybe also being a better team, Lions are going to win the division, for sure. The real question comes down to how high are they going to go. They're definitely not going to get the 1 seed this year. I don't think they will. But I think we'll have a good test to see how good this offense can play against the Eagles this week. This is a big game. A big game that I'm, spoiler alert, taking the Lions in this one. Why? Mainly because of our offense. And maybe this is the game where offense really goes crazy. And the defense, if the defense plays the way they did this week, and our offense goes nuts, we're winning every game. If our offense can get it right, and our defense plays the way they did against the Packers, we are going back and we're repeating. And if we do the same thing next season, then we're three-peating. So, that is just, that's what it is. The Lions, they're a good team. They are a good team, and the way our offense is played, I got the Lions in this game, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. The Lions are a good team, and I think they can maybe go back to the Super Bowl. But we'll see what happens. I still think there's one other team in the NFC that's better than them. We'll get to them later. Number 2, I got the New England Patriots. There we are. The Patriots, they're number 2. They are a legit threat. Is the Empire coming back? We'll see. I mean, it's one season for Drake May. This could be like one of those years where they start off where they do really well, and then they just kind of teeter off for the next like 5 years. This could be like he might have an outstanding year, and then just fall apart. I mean, you can say Stroud's kind of done the same thing. So, that might be what his destiny is. However, he's not even, this isn't his rookie year. This is the second year anyway. So, who knows? Maybe he's just going to get better, which he probably could. The Patriots, they're a good team. They are. With Mike Vrabel and this Patriots team, just in total, like, are they the greatest team, like, with star potential, like, with how good? Like, how good are the, like, how good the defense, okay. How good, are they like a team that, like, they have a bunch of stars on their team? No. I mean, they got Drake May, they've got Stephon Diggs, but he's getting older. They don't, but they play with unity, and that is something that a lot of teams aren't playing with this season. And that's why I have New England so high, and that's why I also have, spoiler alert, Seattle next. They're the only 2 teams that are playing this way. They're dominating their games. No, did the Patriots dominate this game? No, but they definitely played better. They are playing way better than the majority of the league. I would say the only teams that are not playing better than are Seattle and Detroit, probably. And then with the Eagles and the Broncos. Texans even. Great defenses, but lackluster offenses. What's going on? There are some teams. Cowboys, Bengals, great offenses, bad defenses. What's happening? The teams aren't playing. And no, do the Patriots, like I said, have a bunch of stars? No, but it's working for them. They're still managing to take these people who are really like young, who are a lot younger and are just now coming into the league, and are turning them he's probably going to turn a lot of them into studs. Like Mike Vrabel and this Patriots team, like, I don't want to say it yet, but is the dynasty back? It might very well be, with how well Drake May has played. I mean, you could have said the same thing for Mac Jones, because his first year in the league was crazy. He played really well. The team played really well. They still had 0 playoff wins. But the Patriots, this is not looking this is different. The Patriots, I think the difference in that season and this season is they have the right coach. Bill Belichick, as we're seeing in North Carolina right now, he's not the best coach. I think what happened with Belichick is he was able to win off of Brady's success. He was able to make a name for himself off of Brady, because he coached Brady, so he's a good coach. Well, no, it's because Brady was the greatest player of all time, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the only reason. It wasn't great coaching, because he can throw anything at him, and they would still walk away with a close win. And we saw that when Tom Brady moved to Tampa. He still played really well. It was the team that didn't. He won the Super Bowl with Tampa. Then they went back to the playoffs the next year. Then they went back to the playoffs because they kept winning the division. But the team wasn't great. And that's why. The team is like the Buccaneers, and this is kind of what I was saying earlier. For some reason, since Brady, the Buccaneers have the talent, but they don't. But for some reason, they don't. It's not working for them like it should, to where they're only getting 10, 11 wins instead of like 13, 14 wins like they could be. So I don't know what's going on with Tampa, but New England, great game, great game, great team. And yeah, moving on. Now, number 1, Seattle, as you already know. Seattle is number 1. The difference, why I put Seattle over New England. Well, Seattle's more proven. But Seattle has those stars. They do. They have the star players. I mean, you could say Sam Darnold's not. Yes, I would say he is. JSN is. Alright? They have a really good kicker in Jason Myers. Just an overall, I would say, best defense in the league. Like, honestly, I would say for sure top 3. But I think personally, I wouldn't even say we're the best defense in the league. I would say this Seahawks team is the best defense in the league. I would. I think they are. This Seahawks team is a really, really good team. And honestly, right now I might have doomed the Colts when I said this about the Colts, but I think this is real with Seattle because we've had more proof. I think Seattle's Super Bowl favorites. I think they're the front runners now. Despite everything that happened, especially at the beginning of the year, they lost to San Francisco. After that San Francisco loss, yeah, they had a weird one with Tampa, so that was a weird game. But where we had a rare turnover by Sam Darnold. But since then, the Seahawks have really risen to the occasion, and they have just been dominating. And that's what's happening. They keep dominating, and when they're playing tougher teams, do they necessarily dominate? No, but they do enough to win. Their defense keeps them in games, and their offense, when they're kind of rocky, they're still able to do more than the Eagles' offense. That's one of the reasons why I would say Seattle's better than Philadelphia, is because they actually, even when their offense is kind of in a weird point, I would say when they played the Texans earlier this year, in week 8, I think, that both teams, or what, no, it was week 7. Really good defenses. both offenses were going like this because both offenses were, but Seattle's offense was doing enough to score points. The Eagles' offense was not. But we still won anyway because we scored enough points. But Seattle still won by like 2 scores. Well, technically 1 score, but it was basically a 2-score game the whole game. They did enough. And that's why I would say Seattle is the best team in the league, and I think they will continue to be the best team in the league. But those are my power rankings for this week. Kind of a longer video, but yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens toward going into the rest of the season. We're now past the halfway point. We're definitely now into the back half now. Yeah. Can't wait to continue doing this, but yeah. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I have 2 other channels, Southwest Gamer and Sportsman. Southwest Gamer, I do games like Retro Bowl, Madden, Hoopland, games like that, and then Legos models, I do Legos. So if you're interested in any of those, the links for those channels will be in the description. But we're on the road to now 500. We've hit 400 subscribers now. Now we're on the road to 500 subscribers, so let's see if we can do it. But see you in the next video.